Greetings, viewers. We have a fairly small steel nibbed pen from Pilot this week. This is the Pilot Lucina. It's a small, light pen, only weighs 16 grams. It's a steel nib pen, not a hugely expensive pen from Pilot. They're obtainable around the $30 to $45 range. Not the easiest pen to get in the US because I don't believe this is part of their normal US offering. So you kind of have to go through outside the US channels to pick one of these up, but it is a pretty nice pen. It comes in a couple of different colors. I got the yellow one because I realized I don't have very many yellow pens, mainly because yellow ink is not something that that I typically deal with. So obviously there is not yellow ink in here. We'll see what ink is in here in a minute. But nice pen. Obviously, as when you look at it, it is sort of Parker Duofold styled, but it is a small pen. So here it is compared to a Lamy Safari and a Pilot Metropolitan. As you can see, it's decently smaller than these pens. Not pocket pen size by any means, but it is a small-ish pen, and again definitely has that duofold type styling with the flat top and bottom and the black ends, etc. Has what I like these style of clips that I just found on a lot of Pilot pens, not all of them. It's got the ball, etc. The clip says Pilot on it, and it's just a very nice clip. It has a black and gold cap band that says Lucina on one side and Pilot Japan on the other. It is a screw to uncap pen, takes 2.5 turns to unscrew, and it does post, and you probably would want to post this pen. I personally think it's too short unposted, but your mileage may vary. It's pretty nice size when you post it, actually. Again, light pen, like I said, 16 grams, not a heavy pen by any means. Has a very nice contrasting black plastic section with a little ring on the end there. It's got an interesting gold toned nib. It's a steel nib, but it's gold tone. It has the modern Pilot logo on the nib, which you don't see too often, an F for fine, and a bunch of scroll work. It's a smallish nib, kind of number 5 size, comparable to number 5 size, and it has an ordinary plastic feed. It is a cartridge converter pen. This particular one did not come with a converter, but I fitted it with a Pilot Con 40, as you can see right here. And that is that pretty much. Again, just a nicely styled, smallish Pilot pen. I think personally it's a really nice looking pen. I really love these ball type clips that Pilot does on some of the pens. This to me kind of really sets the whole thing off really well, and it works pretty well. So I know what you're thinking. Pens were meant to write. You want to see how this pen writes? Well, let's do that right this second. Okay, this is a pretty nice writing pen, as you're about to see. So this is as we said, a Pilot Lucina, or maybe that's pronounced Lucina if you're doing the proper Italian pronunciation. And this has a steel fine nib, and fine it is. It's pretty consistent with Japanese fine nibs. It's quite smooth, really kind of very pleasurable to write with, I have to say. Very comfortable writer, really writes well. It's about as fine as I would like. Any finer and it really wouldn't be a pen I would like at all, but I think this is a tolerable amount of fineness. But I actually like the feel of this quite a bit. It's really quite a smooth nib. Again, Pilot makes fantastic nibs. Not so great converters, but they make fantastic nibs. So I really wouldn't expect much. I wouldn't expect any less really from a Pilot nib. In terms of wetness, I would say it runs about average. Not particularly wet, not particularly dry, etc. But again, a really nice, smooth, pleasurable pleasurable writing experience that just writes really, really, really well. Now, the real question is this pen worth the money? I mean, you're talking about a pen that's a little more than a Metropolitan, more than a 78G, etc. From a nib perspective, I'd say it's about the same as those pens. It's not the same type of nib, but it's probably about the same from a quality perspective, I would say. I'd say the pen is definitely a more stylish looking pen than either of those pens. And the build quality, to me, it's definitely a higher build quality than a 78G. Different than a Metropolitan, which is a metal pen. So, whether it's worth the extra few bucks, etc., hard to say. If you like this style, then maybe it's worth paying it. Not an expense. We're still talking about not a particularly expensive pen, but you are talking a steel nib, plastic pen, etc. So some people sort of get to a point where they say it's not worth it anymore at that price point. I wouldn't say this is nearly there yet, but you have to really start thinking about the other Pilot pens that it competes with. It's comparable in price to say it's a little more than a Lamy Safari, say, and I would say I like this pen better than a Lamy Safari. So if you want to kind of put it in that category, competing in that space, I would say I like this pen better than a Lamy Safari. But again, your mileage may vary. So that's about it for this particular pen. Like I said, nice pen, not a particularly common Pilot pen. You don't see these around too much, but I like it quite a bit. So that's about it for this pen. Let's take a look at this ink now, shall we? Okay, this ink is Iroshizuku Fuyu-Syogun. And this is a nice gray ink. It's definitely a gray that is got some character to it. It has maybe a tinge of sort of blueness to it, but just a hint. But it's a really nice gray that I like. I like quite a bit. It's a little bit like Kirasami. Actually, let me get a pen that's inked up with Kirasami, and we can take a quick comparison, because it's probably that's probably a comparison worth doing. Okay, so here's a pen that's inked up with Iroshizuku Kirasami. And this pen is in case you're interested, is a Pilot Custom Heritage 92. So this is more of a kind of a brownish gray, and this is more of a bluish gray. I mean, they both certainly evoke gray, but this one's definitely, especially when you look at next to this one, has definitely a bluish tint to it. Personally, I think the Kirasami always reminds me of pencil. Like, people always ask me, what's an ink that looks like pencil lead? I always tell them this one. I've heard people say that they think this one looks more like pencil lead. So again, pick your poison here. Personally, I think if you want something that looks like pencil lead, go with the Kirasami. But anyway, back to the Fuyu-Syogun. Again, a really nice shade of gray, kind of a smoky gray almost, I guess I would call it, but just a really good shade of gray that I like quite a bit, and I definitely get a lot of use for. You wouldn't want it any lighter than this, especially in a fine point pen like this. So this is about as light as you'd want a gray ink to go. Otherwise, it starts to get into the almost not terribly useful category. So that's what it looks like on this Rhodia paper. Let's take a quick look at what this ink looks like on Tomoe River paper. Okay, as we said, what we're writing with here is Iroshizuku Fuyu-Syogun. And this is on Tomoe River paper. Yeah, so you get a little bit of shading on the Tomoe River paper, not a lot, but again, a nice, classy looking shade of gray that I like quite a bit. And there you go. Another good Pilot pen, another great Pilot ink. Good episode this week. At least I think so. I hope you enjoyed it, because I certainly enjoyed making it. If you're not already a subscriber, I would like you to consider becoming one. Please give some thumbs up. Please leave a comment or two. They're always greatly, greatly appreciated. And as always, until we see each other again, have a great day. Bye-bye.